people today. They could spend half their lives over 50. That's a lot of living. So it helps to have a wise friend and fierce defender in your corner. A friend like AARP. So your health lives longer.
This is just slow-mo karate?
Just slow-mo karate.
Your money lives longer.
I just bought that.
I just sold that.
And your happiness lives longer. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Join today.
Hello, my name is Teresa Collins, and I am an Executive Council member for AARP Illinois. AARP, a nonprofit, nonpartisan member organization, has been working to promote the health and well-being of older Americans for more than 60 years. AARP Illinois is proud to represent all those who are 50 plus in Illinois and our 1.7 million members. And we thank you for the opportunity to be your wise friend and fierce defender. Our mission is to enhance the quality of life for all as we age, leading positive social change and delivering value to members through advocacy, service, and information. At AARP, we know that staying fit is one of the pillars of healthy living, and we want to help you on your fitness journey. Physical activity can boost memory, improve thinking, and even lower dementia risk. It's not too late to start. AARP is proud to offer today's virtual event to start or continue you on your fitness journey. Have a wonderful class and enjoy.
Hello and welcome. I'm Diane Butera, and this is Kickstart Your Health Preventing Healing Chronic Disease. I am so grateful to AARP Illinois. What an opportunity for me to share what I'm passionate about and do my service. I love helping other people. And so if I can be of any help, any service to you, that really makes my day. What a big topic. This chronic disease it's almost as if I'm taking all the webinars I've done this year, which are quite a few. I think I've done, oh my goodness, 11? A lot. And taking them all and putting them into one webinar. So it's a little tricky. So you will see some repeat information, some new information, because I am going to talk about chronic disease. But yeah, it's a big topic. And I want to start off by saying I want to honor wherever you are right now. I am not the expert in the room in the sense of being a doctor or a healthcare provider. I do a lot of research. I try to do good research. And I have a lot of years on this body, so I've got some personal experience as well. But I just want to make sure that you know that I'm here to offer what I can. If you disagree with something, that is okay. But what's really important is that you do your own fact checking, and I hope to empower you with some of this information. Okay, so it would be nice if in the chat you could say where you're from. You could say why you showed up for this webinar. Did you come because you have a chronic disease, or you want to prevent a chronic disease, or maybe there's someone in your family that you're caring for, or someone close to you that has the experience of a chronic disease. That would be nice. I think it helps us connect as a community. We can relate to each other. And again, I want to honor wherever you are, that is really important, especially what part of the country you're in. We all have our own different environments, our different types of communities. So that's important that we honor that as well. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to see what we're going to cover today in this 90-minute webinar. If I talk fast, it's because I get a little nervous that I can fit it all in. It's a lot. I want to talk to you a little bit about me, who I am. Some of you have never met me before. A lot of you have been taking on my webinars. And by the way, if I have not answered your email, send it again. My little 2-year-old grandson got hold of my phone and did a lot with my email account. So, oh my gosh, I lost so many emails. Anyway, email me again. All right, so I'll talk a little bit about me and why I teach this webinar, what my experience has been. I do want to talk about chronic diseases, the major chronic diseases, and in particular, how they relate to our diet, what we eat. Folks, there is such a huge connection between our lifestyle and chronic disease. Chronic disease and lifestyle, it's about an 80% of lifestyle that contributes to chronic disease, and only 20% is genetics. I get it. Some of us come by it so honestly. I have the BRCA1 gene. I inherited it. It means that my odds of getting breast cancer, gynecological cancer, are oh, 50 to 80% versus, 8% or whatever it is for the average person. So sometimes we come by it honestly, but there are things we can do, even if it's genetic, that to mitigate, to make sure that the outcome is not as severe as it could be. Okay. So we'll spend a lot of time on what we eat. What I have found is all of this information doesn't do anybody any good if we don't talk about habit and how habits are established, how habits are broken, what makes a healthy habit. So we will talk about that. We'll even talk a little bit about what our mindset is. I'll include some of that information as well. Our mindset about aging, because that has a big impact on how we move through this lifetime and how we live in our bodies. There's some mindfulness tools that I want to introduce to you, some breathing and moving. It's just a little bit, just to see you can get an idea of what it means to use mindfulness tools. I'll talk about sleep. The foundation of good health is what we eat, how we breathe, how we sleep, and how we move. Those are the foundations. And then I also think how we connect. I think that's really important, that we have joy and love and meaning and purpose in our lives. I do want to offer you some resources and then a bit of a review. Okay, so let's spotlight me, and I'll talk to you about who I am and why I teach this particular webinar, or this whole series of webinars, these health and wellness webinars. I do want to say that when I was younger, the outlook I had when I was, I don't know, from age 16 to maybe even age 30 was, I'm never going to be that old, right? I'm never going to be that old. And that old was something over 40, because that seemed very old to me. I always thought, oh my gosh, 30, that's living a long time. Well, as we age, we realize, hey, this body has to last a lot longer. And I was that person who was very much focused on how I looked on the outside and not so much what was going on the inside. So I did have a fitness program because that made me look better. And but I didn't care about the food I consumed. I loved fast food, ate there often, ate tons of sugar, tons of sugar. Sleep, I don't know how I can rank sleep. I had 3 children in 5 years, so I don't think I get to count those years. They were not good sleepers. But it took a long time before I came to understand what good health was. And unfortunately, it was a wake-up call when I was 53. I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. But I was so fortunate that I had already started up a yoga practice. I was already using some mindfulness tools. I had a good head start. Had already started to change my eating habits. I'd quit smoking. I was a heavy smoker, you guys, heavy smoker for 24 years. Quit smoking, used some hypnotherapy when I was 40, haven't looked back, but still miss it, But I did quit smoking 28 years ago. So that was pretty cool. Now you know how old I am. So I had done something. So I had built up some reserve so that when I was diagnosed with cancer, I had a pretty healthy reserve. I was physically active. I had let go of some of my bad eating habits. Wasn't doing the diet drinks anymore, wasn't smoking, wasn't doing fast food. But it wasn't what I now consider to be the foundation that is really important when you get hit hard with something like that. All right. So when that did happen, I got to take a look at some other factors in my life. And I was really lucky to work with health professionals that looked at me as a whole person. If your fingers hurt, if you've got arthritis, you're more than just your hand. And so when you go to the doctor and you go to somebody who's looking, at your arthritis, it's not just about your immune system. It's not just about aging. It's the whole person. And that's what I hope to look at today, is the whole person, not just the parts, right? So that's when I think I got really serious, and why I teach these webinars is some of the things that I was introduced to and that I tried and then went on to teach were so phenomenally effective for people, life-changing, helping people sleep better, healing cancer, working with anxiety. I got to see up close and personal, teaching thousands of students, working with training instructors, that these things really make a difference. And So I'm really happy to be able to share it with you today, to try to condense it so you don't have to spend hours and hours on the internet. And again, I know you can go to the internet and I know you can find lots of information. I'm hoping to condense it for you, make it more attractive, easier to integrate into your life, and even give you some inspiration or motivation to try some of these things that I'm going to suggest. I've been cancer-free 15 years now. I do try to stick pretty closely to some very important habits that I cultivated over those years. Again, what I eat, how I sleep, how I move, how I breathe, and lots of love. Very important. Lots of love. Okay. All right. So that's a bit about me. Let's go ahead and move on. We're going to talk about the key preventative factors for preventing chronic disease. I think most of us know that smoking is bad for us. It causes a lot of health issues, far more than just lung cancer. Maintaining a healthy weight. What a sensitive issue, isn't it? Maintaining a healthy weight. But it's crucial. You know, being slender means fewer health problems. It's just the way it is. And it's such a sensitive topic. There's a new book out there that I would encourage you all to read. It's by David Kessler. He is the former Food and Drug Administrator, who's head of the whole Food and Drug Administration director. And he wrote a book that just came out. It's called Diet, Drugs, and Dopamine. Diet, Drugs, and Dopamine. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that helps you feel good. Drugs, he's talking about all the weight loss drugs that are on the market. And diet, of course, is what we eat. So interesting to look at how we end up with our eating habits and how we end up with addiction and what we can do. I think knowledge is power. So anyway, that's an aside, but I do like the book. I think it's a real interesting read. Okay, we know we have to move 30 minutes a day. It can be walking around your house. It can be dancing in place. It can go swimming. It could be going for a hike with a friend. It could be doing some chair yoga. And thankfully for AARP, there's always something available. There's a wonderful Qigong class taught by one of my friends, Nate. He's awesome. I teach on my own. I teach a strength and balance class. There are lots of things through AARP that we can access. All right, so this might not be so popular. Eating a plant-based diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and fewer animal products. It's interesting. I just watched a reel. Yep, I like to scroll through the phone. And this woman, very beautiful and healthy, was saying that you should cut out all those grains and just eat meat and fruits and vegetables. I am not a person who believes in cutting out all animal products, but if you're going to eat animal products, I hope that you're eating the highest quality you can, which is quite expensive. But I don't think we need as much as we eat. But we do need lots of protein. And so I'll be talking a lot about what it means to eat a plant-based diet and why it's so important. I did do a webinar for you guys on the gut microbiome. If you can watch that, everything done for AARP Illinois is in the archives. I think it's on YouTube or their Facebook page, so you can find it. And of course, I'm going to keep coming back to good sleep hygiene, so important. So we'll be spending some time on that too. All right. Anything else I want to say? Yeah, I want to say, unfortunately, modern medicine doesn't look at the whole person. I don't believe it. I don't think when most of us go to the doctor says, how are your relationships? Are you getting enough love these days? Let me look at your nails. How about your sleep? Are you sleeping well? How many times a night do you wake up? Are you worrying about anything? Tell me what's on your mind. I don't think that modern medicine really looks at the things that will help us prevent chronic disease, and then as well as treat chronic disease. Too often and I get it, the prescription, it's easy to write, easy to take, easy to do, but it has its pitfalls as well. All right, if only we could emphasize prevention starting at a young age. And you know, high cholesterol starts when kids are about 7 years old. They've already got the building blocks for high cholesterol. So we got to start doing things right. Okay, so moving on, talking about chronic disease. So we're going to talk about all the different types of chronic disease that are top rated, not that they're good, but things like heart disease, diabetes, cancer, which are largely preventable by eating a diet rich in whole plant foods. And again, you saw I already mentioned about 80% of the risks of for these diseases do not have to do with genetics, but for lifestyle and diet. In China, there's been a big switch from eating plant-based to eating more meat, and it's led to increase in heart disease, big increase in heart disease. So we have some research to back this up. All right, so let's talk about some of these chronic diseases. We're going to start with heart disease, which is the #1, its leading cause of death in the United States. So reducing cholesterol is very important. And then when you get that number, we're going to move to the next slide. When you get that number, it's the lower number, the LDL, which is really important to look at. I think we've all heard about cutting back on trans fats, saturated fats, cholesterol, which a plant-based diet can do for us. Okay, so what's the problem with cholesterol? It builds up plaque, which increases our risk of stroke and heart disease. All right, next one is lung health. Lung cancer is another cause, or cancer, but I want to talk about lung health in particular. So lung health, including cancer and COPD, are major killers. Of course, smoking is the biggest risk factor here. And again, as I said, I'm a former smoker. I do understand how difficult it is to let go of this habit. I think it's the hardest substance to quit, if you ask me. And there's some research to back me up on that. It's nice to know that if we eat our cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, and then add turmeric, that can repair the DNA and help reduce our cancer risk. Okay. I'm going to look at stroke prevention and Alzheimer's, which kills over 200,000 people annually. I promise we're going to get to the good stuff. This is kind of the sad stuff in one way. We're talking about things that they're not happy topics in my mind, but I want to make sure that you understand that the goal is to how do we prevent this, or how do we alleviate some of the really intense symptoms and even heal from some of these things. All right. Thank goodness we're doing so much more research on Alzheimer's. I have found from my research that physical activity is one of the best things we can do for staving off diseases like dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. So get moving. In some of the research, I found that increasing fiber can lower our risk of stroke. Eating foods high in potassium. They are not bananas, you guys. Banana rates like, sorry, it's just something that I just recently found out. So I just found this out. So I'm not chastising anybody. I'm like, oh my gosh. It ranks about 257th in terms of all the foods you could eat that give you good potassium. Some good marketing done by Chiquita. It is not, it's 257. That means there are 256 other foods you can eat that give you more potassium than a banana. Isn't that something? All right, eating fiber. Oh gosh, fiber. Fiber is your probiotic. By eating plant fiber, that's what makes your probiotic or your prebiotic. Your prebiotic, you guys know you need probiotics, but you need prebiotics first, and that's your plant fiber. And then getting good sleep. Getting good sleep. People who get good sleep, uninterrupted sleep, not drug sleep, not taking sleep aids, not drinking alcohol to go to sleep, will help prevent strokes and also just give you better health overall. You can look for my webinar on sleep. I did a whole 90 minutes on that as well. A little bit more about Alzheimer's. You may have heard about the Mediterranean diet. It's a lovely diet, the Mediterranean diet. It really focuses on eating. We're going to move ahead to that next one. It really focuses on eating a diet rich in vegetables, seeds, nuts. Again, getting aerobic activity, very important. You may have heard about the blue zones. Blue zones are areas in this world where people live long, healthy lives, and there are components to their lifestyle that are believed to contribute to this long, healthy life. And one of them is eating similar to the Mediterranean diet. Another one is that their movement is built into their day. They don't have gym memberships. They move, they do things, they walk, they spend time in nature, they have a spiritual practice, they connect to each other, they have meaning and purpose in their life. And they also have low stress, moderate alcohol consumption. But alcohol these days is getting a really bad rap. And I'm a person who enjoys wine, and I find myself trying to avoid the information. But there is more and more information that's saying that more than one drink a week is very detrimental to our health. Sorry, I don't like to bring bad news, but that is what we are learning. More than one drink a week, detrimental, seriously detrimental to our health. All right, moving on to diabetes. Diabetes gets a lot of press these days. It's because we are a country where diabetes is running rampant because of our obsession with fat, sugar, and salt, because we eat packaged foods, processed foods, fast food, sugar. All of those things really mess with our ability to use our body the right way. If we can eat more of a plant-based diet, it will help with preventing type 2 diabetes, and even can reverse some of those people who have issues with type 2 diabetes. I'm going to give you more information about this change in diet. My recommendation is just do 60 days of eating a clean diet, no fast food, no sugar, no processed food, eating plant food with a little bit of animal protein. And I'll give you some guidelines, 60 days, and see how you feel. Notice how your joints feel. Notice how your energy level is. Notice how you're sleeping. Notice how your skin looks. I think you'll be surprised. My husband just did it for 30 days, and he is so happy. He's so happy, and taking off a little bit of weight. Yeah, taking off a little bit of weight. All right, high blood pressure. High blood pressure, which is linked to heart attacks and stroke. If we have a plant-based diet, we're going to be lowering our sodium, which helps reduce the blood pressure. Adding flax seeds to your meals, the ground ones, not the whole ones. And there's some simple ways to do these things. And there's some really great people out there that are helping us understand how to incorporate this idea of plant-based diet and not making it difficult. There's a man named Dr. Greger. A lot of information I've drawn from his book, but Dr. Greger has a really nice website that's free. It's called nutritionfacts.org, nutritionfacts.org. Doesn't make any money. He's not trying to sell you a book or get you to sign up for anything. It's got tons of recipes. So, so much on the internet. And places like the Mayo Clinic have wonderful, wonderful free webinars, resources for us. We just have to know where to look. Okay. High blood pressure is not inevitable just because you're aging. Yes, there are some genetic factors, and yes, aging can increase our risk of high blood pressure, but there are things we can do to mitigate ending up with high blood pressure. That lifestyle, maintaining a healthy weight, doing our exercise, eating a heart-healthy diet, limiting salt and alcohol are some of those things that we can do. All right, so I just want to, as a side, when you go to your doctor's office, pardon me, and you mention something, and the response I've heard that many doctors give is, well, you're old, what do you expect? Or, yeah, it happens with aging. I disagree, and I don't think that's the best doctor for me or for you, as someone who just assumes because we're older that we can't have good health. That's my opinion there. All right, I think that's ageism. All right, here we go. Next slide. Breast cancer prevention, that gets a lot of press, as well as prostate cancer prevention. Thank goodness we've done so much research now. It's not a death sentence when we find out that we have breast cancer or prostate cancer. There's so much that's been done. And in terms of plant medicine, focusing on the plant foods again, and mushrooms. Shrooms are really healthy for us. And mushroom in particular has been linked to a 64% reduced risk. Again, fact check me, see what you think. In terms, I do want to say a little bit about supplements too. I guess this might be a good time. again, prostate cancer, eating our cruciferous vegetables. I do want to say a little bit about supplements. I take a few. I think there are billions of dollars wasted buying 95% of the supplements. That's an opinion, but there's some good research to back me up on this. I think if we're going to take supplements, the ones that I recommend, again, my opinion, I'm not a doctor, are the important ones are zinc. Zinc, very important for our systems to work properly. Zinc, magnesium, zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, omega-3. Be careful how you get it. It's important. I had some problems with giving blood, and they asked me if I took omega-3s, and I said yes. That's why we tell you to stop your supplement before you come in, which I forgot to do. Omega-3s, zinc, magnesium, B12, B12, and I'm trying to think, is there any other one? I think that's it. Yeah. All right. Let's do some research. I have mentioned gut microbiome health, and I did, as I said, do a whole webinar on this topic. Very important topic that even AARP had. It was on the front page a few months ago, all about the gut microbiome, because we are, we're always learning new things. And what they've discovered is that what happens in our gut has a profound impact on every aspect of our body. And what I have learned from listening, reading, following people who make it their life's mission to educate people about gut microbiome, that having a diverse diet of plant food, fruits, vegetables, fermented foods, making sure we get our prebiotics, prebiotics, fiber, limiting sugar and processed food, and hydration, those are essential for gut health. And by the way, there's such a symbiotic relationship between gut health, brain health, sleep, gut health, sleep. So all of these things, they really are, kind of rely on each other. I mentioned that I was going to give you some guidelines, just very basic guidelines to start with. And this is the next slide that talks about F goals. It's about nutrition. And it's something that I keep on my refrigerator. So when I go to eat something and I think, well, I think I'll have some yogurt or I'll have some cottage cheese and pineapple, I look at this little piece of paper and think, what is really in my F goals that I'm going to eat here? Dairy is not. There's a lot of information that says dairy is not so great for us, unfortunately. So the F goals. F is for fruits and fermented foods, low sugar fermented foods. I love the sauerkraut container from Costco. A couple bites of that every day. So good for your gut microbiome. And by the way, if you're looking at this thinking, if I ate this way, it would hurt my stomach. I get it. This is not easy for everybody to make this change. There has been damage done to our gut where introducing these foods or trying to eat this way will cause a lot of pain, discomfort, and maybe even do harm. So if you're that person, you do want to work with somebody and go slowly with introducing a plant-based diet or eating more plant foods. Then we have our greens and grains, pretty self-explanatory. I mentioned omega-3, how important that is. That's our seeds. Then there's the aromatics, things like onions and garlic, legumes, beans, split peas, lentils. And S is sulforaphane. Sulforaphane is found in things like broccoli. Broccoli sprouts, by the way, are one of the best foods you could eat for yourself. Very easy to grow your own. Really, really simple. And other cruciferous vegetables. And S is also for shrooms. I didn't have that in there, but S is for shrooms, mushrooms. Okay. So here's the goal here. When you look at these F goals, 30 different foods from these groups each week. 30. That's the goal each week. All right. I'll move ahead here. Red meat. I am a person who used to eat probably 50% of my diet was red meat. Maybe not that big, but a lot of red meat. I do not have as much achiness in my body. I have more energy. I feel healthier. It's not that I don't ever eat red meat. I still like red meat, but I've reduced it quite a bit. There's something in red meat, I forget what it's called, but there's a particular chemical in red meat that is unhealthy for us. And a lot of red meat includes nitrates, which are not good for us, and probably one of the worst foods in the world. Two really bad foods that I like as well are the deli meats and bacon. Oh, love myself a good crispy piece of bacon. Even living close to a diner where they're cooking bacon, the fumes can make people sick. Unfortunately, there's some good research for that. Okay, yeah, there's compounds that are formed at high temperatures from the bacon that get into the air, not good for us. So consider, do what you can. I'm not here to say, I want to make your life miserable and all you get to eat is spinach and beans. That's not the case. And often, what can we add in? What can we start to add in? If years ago, I didn't eat salad, but then salad bars got popular. So with the raisins and the nuts and the really yummy salad dressing and the chow mein noodles, well, I started to like salad. Well, then I realized those weren't really the healthy parts, but I got myself used to eating salad, which I never had eaten before. So sometimes you can trick yourself into eating more healthy by starting maybe with, how we do with kids, dipping the carrots in ranch dressing. All right, we can do that for ourselves. To reduce chronic disease, we're on the next slide here. We do want to focus on eating a plant-based diet and making sure that we get I think I forgot to say B12 is not a bad supplement to take, and our vitamin D. And also to understand water isn't just about thirst, it's more of a systemic treatment, meaning we want to keep drinking the water because it's working throughout our system. So I used to think, oh, what's the big deal? Why, we didn't drink a lot of water. My mom never said drink some water when I was, 5, 10, 15. But we're finding out that it is really good for our health. So drink your water. What's reasonable? And if you're like me, I stop drinking water by 6 p.m. Okay. What else do I want to say about that? I think that's about it. Turmeric, that's a good one for you. And you don't have to get fancy with it. You don't have to buy expensive tablets. There are lots of ways to do this. You can put the powder into something so it's not so expensive. All right. The next slide reiterates what I had just said, that for some of us, these foods can also cause digestive distress, especially if our gut has been damaged, if we've had a lot of antibiotics, if we've had a lot of artificial sugar, if we have gone so long without eating plant food that our gut doesn't know what to do with it. There's a lot of different issues. And again, I want to repeat, I don't know, we all have different bodies, and maybe a piece of this will apply to your circumstance, maybe 10%, maybe 80%. And I'm certainly not here to judge you. Okay, next one, ready for change. So I thought a lot about this webinar. Let's go back to ready for change. I thought a lot about teaching this webinar because it's such a big topic, because it's a sensitive topic, because it is something that I think is, we don't really have a handle on what's happening in this country with chronic disease, particularly things like diabetes and Alzheimer's and heart disease and cancer. And I was trying to answer her myself, what is it? What is it? What are the reasons why people don't adopt a healthy lifestyle? Why don't people get enough sleep? Why don't people eat healthier? Why don't I, give up alcohol? Why? Because I'm not perfect. So I used Chat GPT, you guys. I used Chat GPT and I asked, why don't people make healthy lifestyle changes? And I think this is worth reading to you. So I'm going to read it to you, and I'm going to make some comments too. All right, number 1. Lack of motivation or clear purpose. So we might know that it's good to eat well. You can put it on me, spotlight me on this one. We know that it's important to eat well and to exercise. We all know that, right? to cut down on sugar. But we don't feel deeply connected to why it matters to us, especially if we're going along. It's like, I feel fine. I don't need to, I eat a steak every night. I feel fine. But what's going on in the inside, we don't really know. So it's this knowledge that, okay, there are, let me give a good example. We all brush our teeth every day. Very few of us will go a week without brushing our teeth because we understand that not brushing our teeth leads to tooth decay. And it happens pretty quickly. Unfortunately, some of the lifestyle changes that I'm asking you to make, or I'm suggesting, or that the experts tell us to make, we don't see the detrimental effects for a very long time, and we can't see what's going on internally. We can see pretty clearly with our teeth what's going on. So I think that might be one of the things that is a problem, is we're not motivated because, you know, it's kind of easy to ignore that maybe something might be going on here. So with and not having an emotional why, like, you know, where does it really hit home for me? For me, quitting smoking, it hit home because I realized, no, I want to be there for my 3 daughters when they're 40 years old. I want to be there for them. And so it was very emotional for me. And it was a very big shift in my thinking that what I really wanted for my life. All right, so lack of motivation or clear purpose. So that's having a real heart-to-heart with yourself, or working with a life coach or a therapist, a doctor. Number 2 was the feeling people feel overwhelmed and they have this all or nothing thinking, you know, that they have to jump on the bandwagon and not eat any red meat and not eat any processed foods, and they can only eat, you know, granola bars, or which are full of sugar, but and it doesn't have to be that way. That's why I say, what can you add in? What can you add in that's good for you? And that's overwhelming. And so we start with small steps. And we'll talk a little bit that when we talk about habits. And then again, speaking of habits and comfort zones. So we have our unhealthy habits that we're really comfortable with, right? We have our emotional support foods. Mine's French fries. What's yours? And that's very comforting for me, and it's a habit. And there are other habits I have that are not so healthy. And looking at our habits and how to change habits and why we have the habits and how we get out of the comfort zone and do something different. Number 4 is lack of social support. So if you live in a household where someone is smoking, or somebody is not getting good sleep, staying up late, night out, or bringing home donuts every day, that's very hard to stick to some of the commitments that you'd like to maintain. Having people in your life that have shared goals, very important. That's a tough one. I know when I quit smoking, I had to tell my best friend, I won't be able to see you for a little bit because we always smoke together. So anyway, so lack of social support. Another one is emotional barriers. Emotional eating, food discomfort, not being comfortable about our bodies, getting outside and walking, thinking that we can't do it. There's a lot going on emotionally. I think having a good support system for that is key, and exploring some of those things. And again, starting small. Yeah, I think sometimes we use certain substances to cope. Life can be very challenging. Number 6 is short-term mindset. Health improvements take time. They take time. But honestly, if you stick to 30 days of clean eating, good sleep, I think you'll be blown away. 30 days, that's not much. 30 days of real commitment. And it's not like you're saying, oh, I can't. Just say, no, I'm checking out this new idea of, and I want to see if, what happens with my body. I kind of like that approach. I want to see what happens if I really commit to these 30 days. We are a quick fix society, aren't we? Now we don't have Facebook anymore. We got to have Instagram because we want it all in 15 seconds. Guilty. So there is a delayed gratification, which is tough, but we're worth it. Number 7, there's some confusion and misinformation. That's a big one. That's a really big one. Coffee is bad for you. No, coffee is good for you. Red wine's good for you. No, all alcohol is bad for you. So we don't really know what works, so we throw up our hands and go, why bother, right? Why bother? I don't think that's a good approach to take because you do matter, your health does matter. And I do think that looking for good resources, robust research, National Institute for Health, NIH, as opposed to WebMD, where it's actually well-respected journals that you get information from, or finding somebody like I really love Dr. Bulsiewicz, call him Dr. B. He's a gastroenterologist who focuses on nutrition. Most gastroenterologists will focus on medication or surgery. So, finding people that you feel like you can really rely on them to give you information and resources. And like I said, the whole thing about supplements, a lot of money wasted on that. So it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. Like I can't have all the perfect information, I'm not doing anything. Number 8 is access and environment. Isn't it a shame that healthy food costs more than junk food? Isn't it a shame? But there are workarounds for that. And do we have access to it? Where do we live? There are a lot of environments that really promote fast food. If I go to a big city and drive down city streets, it's just fast food after fast food, as opposed to living in my small town, where I can't even tell you where there's a McDonald's. I don't notice them anymore anyway. And that used to be my favorite place to eat. Yeah. Also, time. It takes time to make healthy food, right? But there are workarounds. There are workarounds. And number 9 is low self-efficacy. That means people don't believe they can do it. They've had a lot of past failures. They don't believe in themselves. They don't trust themselves that they can stick with it, so they don't take themselves seriously. Again, working with a coach, working with a therapist, and working with a friend, having a heart-to-heart with yourself. And then number 10, last but not least, cultural and identity factors. Lifestyle changes might conflict with someone's cultural norms, family traditions, or sense of identity. Let's say, I don't know, let's just do the whole traditional Italian family. You go to, for dinner. What? You're not having bread and pasta? What's the matter with you? Right? We have cultural expectations. It could be like we feel like we're giving up part of who we are. All right, so those were the 10 most common reasons why people don't make healthy lifestyle changes. And there is a really interesting article, I have it in the resources, that is about where are you on that continuum of change? Are you ready to make a change? Because there's a whole process that comes to making changes. All right, so we're going to move on here. What are we doing with time? Okay, we're halfway through. I think we're good. There's a book that there's many books out here. This is just one of many. I don't get any royalties for recommending anybody, but I love this book by Becca Levy. She's a very sweet researcher who was very curious on. She loves studying aging and elderly and ageism, and so this is a book that talks about how our beliefs about aging affect our health, that we can actually add 7.5 years to our lives by changing some of the ageist belief systems that we've grown up with. Many of the health problems that were formerly considered entirely due to aging, such as memory loss, hearing decline, and cardiovascular events, are instead influenced by negative age beliefs. What do you think of that? A little bit more, ask yourself the question, what do you think about? What are the 5 words that come to mind when you think about an older person? Usually it's something negative. It's not like that in all cultures. It is in our culture, unfortunately. And so we want to look at what are the biases, what are our ageist practices. It'd be really cool if the doctor's office had a little sign that said ageism is harmful to your health, because it is. It's harmful to our health. And then self-perception, how we think about ourselves colors our world. I think we know that. Catch yourself when you say, oh, I'm getting so old, I can't do this. Oh, my knees are so bad. These things that we say to ourselves have a big impact. And I say, lucky us, we get to be here. Lucky us, we get to be here. Because I'm sure we all have someone that we love very much who is not here with us, and it was far too soon. So lucky us, we get to be here. In summary, ageism is important to look at. We're on the next slide. It's pervasive. I start paying attention to ageism. I already went to the next slide in summary. Sorry, we can retrain our brain. Thank goodness it's there for neuroplasticity. But ageism, we start to pay attention. We'll see it everywhere. And it can accelerate our decline in our health and in how long we live. Our beliefs influence our health, positive outlook. You know, there's people that have a great outlook on life. Even how we view stress. Stress, if we, it's like, oh, this is going to kill me, or as opposed to, well, we'll figure this out, or just have a good attitude, are so much healthier. I do love that she talks about spreading the word and having an age liberation movement. So I wanted to include that there for you. And about changing your brain, I kind of skipped over that. Because of neuroplasticity, because the brain can change, we can really make headway. That's a little pun there. All right, next slide talks about small habits make a big impact. All right, I'm moving on to habits. This is so important. And remember what I said, start small, baby steps. What can you add in? There's a lovely book out there called Atomic Habits, Small but Powerful Changes. There's a lot of books out there that talk about habits. In terms of habits and how they're formed, which is the next slide, there's a cue that happens, whether it's, the box of cookies or the Starbucks sign or whatever it is, something happens. And so then it creates a craving, and the craving creates a response, and then we get a reward. So how do we make habit formation work for us? Well, let's say we want to start exercising. So the cue would be, oh, my exercise clothes are right there. I'm going to put them on as soon as I get out of bed. Craving, how do you make it attractive? Well, if you asked me to go swimming, that would not make it attractive for me. But if you said, hey, you get to go hike in this beautiful park, that's attractive for me. The response, setting up your environment to make it easy. And we're still on the slide, number 24. And then the reward, make sure it's satisfying, track your progress. I love using my phone calendar, like walk 20 minutes today, I'll walk 30 minutes the next day. I love looking back and seeing my progress. All right, now we're going to move to the next slide. To sum up habit building, the key points, habits are like building blocks. They shape us. They mold us into the people that we are. Tell me what your habits are, and I'll know a lot about you, right? So we want our habits to be things that are meaningful to us, and not things that we have to hide from or that make us feel bad. One of the best things we can do to build habits, it's not self-determination or willpower. It's setting up our systems, meaning setting up our environment to succeed. I know that, like, for instance, when I quit smoking, I didn't have any alcohol because I knew that wouldn't help. I'd probably say, sure, I'll have a smoke. I didn't have anybody around me that smoked cigarettes. I didn't go places where people smoked. So setting up your systems, your environment, and there were things in my home that I did also, little signs that I had up, notes in my purse to read, things that I did to set up my system to help me succeed in changing a habit. That's how we become more successful. And at the bottom it says lasting change starts with identity. Decide who you want to be and prove it with small wins. All right, we're going to go to slide 26 and talk a little bit about physical activity. How much physical activity should we be getting? About 150 minutes a week. So 7 into 150, that's what, 22 minutes a day? And it could be walking to see a neighbor. It could be dancing in your kitchen. It could be doing a chair yoga class. 22 minutes, you're worth it. 22 minutes a day. So important for our mobility, being able to bend down, pick things up, get down to the floor, get back up, carry a grandchild, carry our groceries, reach to the back seat. All right. So set the goal 150 minutes, get as close as you can. And I recommend at least 3 days a week. And I do think that a combination of bone density, mobility, and cardio is very important. So for instance, going to the gym and doing some weights or having some weights at home, doing a mat Pilates class, you can find that on AARP, doing a chair yoga class, Zumba online. AARP is wonderful for all that. Okay, a little bit more help with exercise, slide 27. Here's some tips for you. Always warm up. I know a lot of people our age are going out and playing pickleball. Oh, I want to get in shape. I'm going to play pickleball. Please, please, please get in shape before you play pickleball. And if you are playing pickleball, do a little warm up before you start playing. Just do a 5-minute move your shoulders, do a brisk walk, something to warm up your joints, warm up your muscles. That's for almost any exercise. Have a reasonable expectation and increase daily. Here's some more tips to help you. Some people really like to work out with a friend. I personally don't like going to the gym with a friend, but I love going on walks with friends. Or I'll call a friend. I'll have phone calls. I've got my earpiece in, and I just like, oh, who have I talked to this week? So I get my friendship fix then. Always pick something that you enjoy, or something that is not so high on the list that you don't enjoy, right? I know some people are like, I don't enjoy anything. Well, pick the least offensive. Consistency is so important. Put it in your schedule and don't budge. So if you have, every morning at 8:30 a.m. you are doing some type of physical activity and call your doctor and they have an 8:30 appointment, pick a different one. That's you're already taking care of your health that day. Or a friend wants to meet a different time. Oh, I walk at 8:30. You want to join me? But stay dedicated to your schedule. Have some goals for yourself. That's really great. I have goals. I've been working out since I think I started when I was maybe about 21, and I still have goals on how many days, how much, how many hours, what I want to get done. Planning ahead, that's about a lot back to, our systems, setting ourselves up to succeed. We know ourselves. We know how we're going to fail. We know how we can set ourselves up to fail. So we also know how to set ourselves up to succeed. Okay, so planning ahead, preparing, make sure it doesn't take too long. So you can say, oh, I don't have time for that. You know what, if you can, even 5 minutes, even 5 minutes is awesome. 5 minutes of chair yoga, 5 minutes of breathing exercises, 5 minutes of sitting quietly for reducing stress. Okay, the key is to just do it. That's such a great slogan, isn't it? Okay, so I mentioned mindfulness tools, and this next slide talks about what the different mindfulness practices are. We're going to spend a little time on 2 of them, the movement and the breathing, but meditation and gratitude practice I find are incredibly helpful when it comes to reducing stress and building our health. The next slide talks about breathing, which we're going to be doing some things. I'm thinking that, we can do quite a few of these, practice some breathing techniques. I did do a whole webinar on breath. It is something that doesn't get a lot of recognition, and it can also be one of those practices that leads to better health, particularly if we start learning how to breathe just through our nose as often as possible and not through our mouth. So we're going to spotlight me, and I'm going to teach you some breathing techniques. There is some research out there from Stanford University that I found very interesting. They did a research study where they took some different techniques, meditation. There was a couple of different breathing practices, but they were looking at what was the most effective in reducing stress. And this one breathing technique in particular had the greatest success, and it's called the cyclic sigh. So I do want to teach you that. Again, a reminder, breathing through your nose as often as possible. I'll talk a little bit about that when it comes to sleep as well. So let's just start with getting in touch with our breath. So find yourself sitting upright and sit with your hands on your lap. You get to join me here. Sit with your hands on your lap and move so that your shoulders are over your hips. I'm going to move back in space. And the back of your head is in line with your spine. All right. Shoulders over your hips, back of your head in line with your spine. Already you're sitting up taller. And then press down into your sitting bones and lengthen up through the crown of your head. Eyes opened or closed, it doesn't really matter here. So what I'm asking you to do is to find really good posture here. That's one of those essential pieces to breathing well. Press down into your sit bones and lengthen up through the crown of your head. Bring your awareness to your right elbow and let it be really heavy. And to your left elbow and let it be really heavy. So you can feel those shoulders relaxing, dropping away from your ears. It's really easy to start to lean forward. And again, eyes opened or closed, doesn't matter. Feel your feet on the ground. This is moving into your body. We often don't fully inhabit our body, so we're moving into the body so we can connect to the breath. Bring your awareness to the roof of your mouth and relax the roof of your mouth. Now that might seem like a very odd cue, but think of, I like to think of holding a miniature cloud in my mouth so that it becomes more spacious and light. Think of your upper molars, these upper back teeth, widening away from each other, relaxing the roof of the mouth. Or simply let your lower jaw unhinge away from your upper jaw. Just let it drop away. Can you breathe just through your nose? And can you direct your inhale into your upper back? Direct your inhale into your upper back. And when you exhale, can you exhale completely? Let the breath, the exhale, go to its natural conclusion. So just practice that. Inhale into your upper back. And exhale all the way, using just your nose. Using nasal breathing is a good way to release the nitric oxide, which is really good for us. Breathing exercises can prevent disease. It works with relaxing the nervous system. Can you start to lengthen your breath so that you get to a 5-second inhale and a 5-second exhale? Just do your best. Remember to direct your inhale into your upper back so you're not grabbing with your throat or your chest, those auxiliary breathing muscles. It's more important that you make the breath long as opposed to deep. So take your time. And just this simple technique of sitting, being in your body, breathing through your nose, 5-second inhale, 5-second exhale. And again, building habits, link it to something you do all the time. Getting into the car, stopping at a red light, before you sit down for a meal, or when you sit down for a meal, when you're waiting rather than turning to your phone. Practice a breath technique. All right, I'm going to teach you cyclic sigh. Cyclic sigh is an inhale through the nose, followed by another quick inhale through the nose and then sighing out the mouth. Looks like this. All right, let's do 5 together. Okay. Inhale through the nose, another quick inhale, and then sigh out the mouth. Here we go. Finish your sigh. All right, cyclic sigh. Practice it every day. Do it throughout the day. Keep doing it. Build a habit. Another breathing technique is the box breathing. Box breathing is we're going to do, actually we're going to do the 4-7-8. There is box breathing, but I like 4-7-8 better. So 4-7-8 is inhale for 4, of course, through the nose, hold your breath for 7, and exhale for 8. If those numbers don't work for you, adjust for numbers that do work for you. Okay, so we'll do a few rounds of 4-7-8. So I'll count. So since it's 4, I'll say inhale, 2, 3, 4. Okay, got it? All right. So here we go. Inhale through your nose, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, that was just 2 rounds of the 4-7-8. Last but not least, I'm going to teach you one called Brahmari or bee breath. And it's interesting. I've seen reels. I've seen people doing something similar to this. And it's from yoga, Brahmari. It's creating a vibration through humming. And I've seen it actually. I was watching a reel where they teach it in schools. So some people like to have their hands over their eyes, or you can just close your eyes. But you do want to close your ears. So don't do it yet because you won't hear me. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So hands over eyes, closing the ears. It's an inhale through the nose and humming. This can be so soothing to the nervous system. It's a nice one to do before sleep. So what's the idea behind this? What's the premise? The premise is that with the humming, you're creating vibration. We're a body of energy. Energy gets stuck. We've got these plexes of nerve plexes, things, places where vibration, we want to focus that vibration where energy can get stuck. You know, kind of like you feel like energy stuck here, chest is heavy, pit in your stomach, buzzing in your head. So we think about where in the body can we send this vibration to break up the energy, to release the energy that's kind of stuck. And so we use this humming sound, and you can choose the pitch and think about where you want to direct it. Okay, let's do it 3 times together. So it's a long inhale, hum through the exhale, and we'll do it 3 rounds. Okay, here we go. All right, so that's Brahmari. If you want to do a little reset breath, you can do this. 2 quick inhales with an exhale. You can also do, I call this clearing out the cobwebs, lion's breath. So hands up like big lions. Actually, you can do like lion's paws here, like this. And I don't want to scare you. I'm going to roar like a lion. It looks like this. Ah! Right? So you got your tongue really long. Look up here at your third eye and deep from the throat. All right, so let's do 2 together. Ready? Lion's pause. Big inhale. Ah! Ah! It's a good one to do first thing in the morning. All right, so we did quite a few breathing techniques. If you're going to practice any of them regularly, I hope that you practice nasal breathing and the cyclic sigh. Okay, the next slide is called Let's Move. We're going to do, because I have quite a few different people here, we're going to do some things from the chair. So if you can't get up easily, that's okay. We're going to do things from the chair. And then we're going to do some things standing up. And I have taught you all in a webinar something called Happy Hands, Happy Feet. And it's where I use, I'm going to grab this, a pinky ball. And you want to spotlight me. See this thing? It's called a pinky ball. They're super cheap. In fact, mine costs $1.50 at the drugstore, but you can order them online. I love these things for the hands and for the feet. So I'm not going to do pinky ball today, but you can look up my Happy Hands, Happy Feet pinky ball webinar. It is a wonderful technique to use. Helps with plantar fasciitis, works with arthritis, joint mobility. All right, so my little plug for the pinky ball. Okay, so I'm going to move my chair back so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to do a few things that help with joint mobility and also strength and balance. So sitting in your chair, and go ahead and make sure that your feet can touch the ground. Feet can touch the ground. Feeling like you might not be able to see me. I'm going to move that just down just a little bit here. There we go. I like that better. And remember how you sit up nice and tall, shoulders over your hips and head in line with the spine. Push down into your sit bones. Sit bones are the bony part of your pelvis that touch your chair seat, and lift up through the crown of your head. There you go. Sitting like this as often as possible. I know it's not fun. I'd much rather sit like this, Sampasana, but sitting like this throughout the day, just every once in a while, find that good posture and sit up nice and tall. Bring your shoulders up 2 inches, back 2 inches, and shoulder blades down your back 2 inches. I'll say that again. Shoulders up just 2 inches, back 2 inches, and shoulder blades down your back 2 inches. It's a posture adjustment. It's really nice for finding that elegant posture. So again, back of your head in line with your spine, shoulders over your hips, shoulders up 2 inches, back 2 inches, shoulder blades down your back 2 inches. And starting nice and easy, we're going to do something called Atlas axis mobilization. We're going to move the top 2 vertebrae at the top of your spine so that we can liberate the rest of your spine. It's a really simple movement of nodding your head ever so slightly, just a little bit. There you go. As if you weren't using any muscles. I don't know if you can see me doing this. I'm going to move closer so you can see it. It doesn't hurt to go back and forth. So just this little movement. Nice and easy. We're moving the top 2 vertebrae at the top of the spine. There you go. All right. Now move your head side to side just a little bit. It's not a lot. Atlas and axis. Liberate the spine. Stay relaxed. Eyes open. All right. Now draw a figure 8 with a little one. Go the other direction. Put it on its side. It becomes an infinity sign. Go the other direction. There you go. Lovely. Very nice. All right. We're going to keep going here. Let's put your hands on your shoulders and make some elbow circles and go the other direction. Just clasp your hands together and roll your wrists and push your hands away. Touch your thumbs, pull your thumbs towards your chest, push your palms away. Inhale into your upper back. And exhale, bring your arms overhead. Push your palms towards the ceiling. Push your thumbs towards the wall behind you. Hold one wrist. Let's hold the left wrist. Weight into the left sitting bone and do a little side bend. Hold the other wrist. Just a little side bend. You don't have to do much, just a little. There you go. And then release. Shake your hands. Do a little bit of shrugging. Shake a leg, shake your arms, do a little bouncing. So good for us. Do a few ankle rolls. Point your toe, flex, point, flex, roll your ankle. Point and flex, roll your ankle. You want to move those joints. Yeah, move those joints. All right, and then a twist. We're going to twist left. Look over your left shoulder. Twists come from your mid-spine, upper spine, neck, not your low back. So your belly button stays facing ahead as you twist to your left. Pull your belly button to the right. Sit really tall, press into your sit bones and lift up through the crown of your head. Take some nice long breaths through your nose. And come back to center, and we'll twist the other direction. Sit up tall, looking over your right shoulder. Pull your belly button to the left as you twist right. Remember, the twist is not going to your low back. Good. And come back to center. Inhale into your upper back, and with the exhale, lift your arms overhead. Look up between your hands. You're doing a back bend here. Look up between your hands, root down into your sit bones, and then release. Inhale into your upper back, and exhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Look up between your hands, and release. There you go. Working with the core, sit to stand. Maybe you can have your hands crossed, your arms crossed here. But sit to stand. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see this a little bit better. I want you to use your core. You don't have to have your hands here. Maybe you have to use the seat, but if you can, sit to stand. Coming up, and the sit. Pause, reach your sit bones back. Don't plop, and sit down gently. Sit to stand. You're using your core. Go slowly. It's not a quick moving exercise. Reach back with those sit bones. And do one more. This is a really important one. That's us working. We're even working with our leg strength here, right? All right. So that's just a little bit of a warm up for sitting. Now we're going to move to standing. Standing warm up. Standing warm up. Let's do a little bit of shaking and shaking, shaking and tapping all over. And patting and tapping. So good for us. Do your face, waking up the nervous system, do your chest, your belly. All right, do your kidney area. Reach back here. Do a little bit of swinging. You can tap your kidney area. Great way to wake up the body. All right, bring your feet together, bring your arms up and drop, swing and drop and swing and drop. And then a little dance step for balance. Make a T, look straight ahead, don't look down. Make a T with your arch to your toes and upside down. Don't look down, bring your pelvis around. You're moving the joints here and looking straight ahead. And little dance step there. Yeah. And then do the other side. You're moving the pelvis here. T. It's work. You can hold on to the chair if you want. Good. And then last but not least, this is just a really little movement. Soft bend to your knees and bring your sit bones forward and your sit bones back. Sit bones forward, sit bones back. You may not even be able to see a lot of movement here. Sit bones forward, sit bones back. You can do this on the chair as well. We're going to add the arms. Sit bones come forward, arms come forward, sit bones back, arms back. Opening up the chest here, back and forth. There you go. All right, so basically we're just putting the joints through range of motion here. I'm going to show you one last thing because it's my staple for taking care of the core, for building strength. It's the deadlift. And often people use a kettlebell. I have a 45-pound kettlebell that I use, but to demonstrate, I'm just using an 8-pound weight. You might start with an 8-pound weight, 10-pound weight. Kettlebell is better. But I want to show you how to do a deadlift because this is where you get the most bang for your buck. Deadlifts have so much good things to offer. It works with the strength of our legs, our quads, our hamstrings, our back, our core, our arms. So here's the deadlift. So watch for a second. Maybe you have something you can hold. Maybe you've got a weight. If not, just do it without a weight, but just watch for a second. It's all about keeping your spine really long. Spine is long, no flexion. Press into your feet and stand all the way back up. Deadlift. Sit back like you're going into that chair. Long through the spine, long spine, nose is pointed out in front of you. Head not tucked. A little tuck of the sit bones to come back up. That's your deadlift. So try it with me. You can just pretend you're holding a weight, or maybe you've got something you can hold in front of you. Sit back. I don't let the weight touch the floor. Long spine. Working with ankle flexion here, knee flexion, leg strength, core strength, back strength, arm strength. Let's do one more. Sit back. Press into the tops of your feet as well as the heels, long through the spine, little tuck of the sit bone, press into the feet, come all the way back up to standing. All right, so that's just a little taste. You know, both of those routines took, what, 5 minutes just to get yourself warmed up, work with your strength, work with your joints. So much more you can do, and AARP has so many classes to offer you. Okay. So we did not talk about sleep yet, and I said I would mention the nasal breathing when it came to sleep. If you are a snorer, try this. Put a little piece of first aid tape. It's that blue tape across your mouth. You can check it out during the day to get comfortable with it and see if you get a better night's sleep. That and sleeping at an incline, little wedge pillow, might really help with your sleep. We are just now learning how important sleep is. It is now being studied. There's a great book out there called Why We Sleep. There's some good sleep podcasts. Oh my goodness, there's so much to learn about sleep, and it is a superpower that we all have if we can cultivate good sleep hygiene. So many things that sleep does for us, and I made a list right there for you, but I'm sure that you probably already know. And if you think, oh, I don't need much sleep, I get by in 5-6 hours. 99% of us need 7 to 9 hours sleep. And many of us, probably half of us, don't get that, an unmedicated sleep. All right, so if you, and it's, yes, sleep just, we're staying on sleep here. Sleep does change as you get older and your hormones change and your bladder changes, and it does get more challenging, but there are some really great resources out there on what good sleep hygiene means. Probably most important is go to bed at the same time, get up at the same time. And, you know, staying up past your bedtime on the weekend, for every hour you miss, it takes a day to recoup the health benefits of good sleep. So gotta sleep to that, stick to that sleep routine. Okay, now we can move around. Talk a little bit about stress. So it used to be there was this saying, oh, you know, most illness is psychosomatic, and that made it sound like it's all in your head. But what I think what they really meant was so much of what we think and feel affects our body, and then takes its toll on our body. And we do want to be able to Stress is going to happen, and our attitude about it is important, but we also want to know how to manage stress. So we can use mindfulness tools. Just meditating for 2 minutes a day, really simple. And meditating for 2 minutes a day just means you just sit and you're with all your thoughts without chasing them down the rabbit hole. It's not as complicated as we try to make it. You don't need a beautiful waterfall to sit in front of, or any special music or mantra. And there are some really wonderful apps and even programs that are free for learning a meditation. Mindfulness tools include the movement, include the breathing, which we just practiced a little bit of that. In terms of resources for you, I have a couple of resources that discuss ageism. And then some of my favorite podcasts. Again, these are just suggestions. There's so many out there, but these are some of my favorites. You can watch. You don't worry about writing things down because you can watch this again. You can look at the time and go, oh, I want to go back to, this time to find this slide. Some more resources. I remember I mentioned about good research, and NIH is the National Institute for Health. That's why I put those in. And then there's that one link I talked to you about, change. Are you ready for change? What are the stages of change? How we change our health? How we create healthy habits? I really like this article, or this website. All right. Also for your resources, of course, there's AARP, and there's your senior centers. There's just so many ways for us to get support. Like I tell my kids all the time, use your resources. In review, I want to reiterate that our mindset and beliefs shape our behaviors. So how we think about ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, what we've been told about aging are all going to have an impact. And, we can look at that. Well, how is it impacting us? What do we need to change? Our habits, we get all this information and it's all for naught if we don't know how to apply it to our lives. And as I said, baby steps. Of course, I talked about exercise and mind-body practices like breathing, a little bit about sleep, how we eat, how we use mindfulness tools for stress management, and of course, use your resources. As I said, this webinar, it's combining all the webinars I did and trying to do it all in 90 minutes. So if something really interests you, you want to dive a little deeper, maybe you want to look at another webinar. I think the easiest thing to do is start with 5 minutes. Just get up 5 minutes earlier and pick something, whether it's a breathing technique or a standing warm-up or meditation or making yourself some really healthy oatmeal with your hemp seed and flax seed and chia seed. Start with 5 minutes of taking care of you. Filling your cup first. Many of us are, we do care for other people, and we have a lot more to give if we take care of ourselves first. People often say, oh, I don't have time to exercise. Actually, we're more productive. We get more time when we exercise. And last but not least, I'd love to stay in touch with you. There's my email. It's such an honor to be with you. I'm so grateful to all the people that make this happen, and mostly to you, because without this community, I wouldn't feel connected. It wouldn't have its sense of purpose for me. I wish you all joy in your lives. And I'm going to leave you with this really lovely poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson. He writes, write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year. He is rich who owns the day, and no one owns the day who allows it to be invaded with fret and anxiety. Finish every day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. Begin it well and serenely, with too high a spirit to be cumbered with your old nonsense. This new day is too dear, with its hopes and invitations, to waste a moment on the yesterdays. All right, be well. Take care.